What's up? How's everybody doing? Hello. Today we're going to do new pickups. So Converse and Reebok this week. We'll have some Nike pickups next week. But today we have 4 pairs of Converse and 1 pair of Reebok. I'm actually going to start off with the Reeboks. And they are the hot ones. If you've watched the YouTube channel or you've seen the new game show from First We Feast, you're very familiar with this logo. We have chicken wings and milk all across the box, which is normal for these releases. They come in these boxes, but these are really cool. The color throws me off a bit. They are so loud that it varies between red and pink depending on which angle you're looking at the shoe. And there goes my light. So these in certain angles, I would say are a hot pink. Some would say like an infrared. I'm on the infrared side. They look really crazy. Now with this dark lighting, they look really blood reddish. But such a great shoe. It has this kind of like wasabi, that's what I'm calling it. Wasabi colored outsole. But there's a lot of great details. On the heel, we have the Last Dab splat. And again, the Hot Ones logo. Here we have the flames, where you would see Iverson or Reebok or Harden, depending on the shoe. Here we have the Scoville level, 1996. So that's the release year of the original Question Mid. And on the insole, we have Hot Ones again with a glass of milk, and it actually says the Last Dab in the inner collar. So super dope release. They've had Shacknosises. They've had, I believe, Club C's. Tons of different releases from Reebok and Hot Ones. Great partnership there. I really enjoy Sean Evans' show. I'm nothing special when I say the Shaq one might be the best episode. But lots of good content there. Really enjoy them. But that's it for Converse. Pardon me. That's it for Reebok. Now we're on to all Converse. So we're going to jump off with the most recent release in celebration of the ABA-NBA merger. After the 1976 ABA season, the two leagues became one. Hence the San Antonio Spurs and the Nets, teams like that becoming a part of the NBA. So these are a celebration to that. They also happen to be Dr. J's Pro Leathers. It also happened to be Dr. J's birthday last week. There also happened to be a really good interview with Jarrell Harris and Dr. J last week. Just lots of good stuff. These are made to kind of look like the pair he had the famous free throw line dunk on. These red chevrons can be replaced with blue ones. They're in the box here somewhere. Yep, so it comes with blue chevrons. This is all Velcro. The medial side is leather and stitched on. You can't mess with those. But a really sweet ABA ball on the back heel tab. That's probably the best detail. But overall, this shoe is insane. In a recent, semi-recent Sneaker History podcast episode, we talked about materials. And the leather on this really, really feels supple to the touch. When you give it the touch test, it rebounds very nicely. Just a great high-quality shoe. It has a little bit of blue on the top of the tongue liner here in the stitching. I think that's a really nice touch. And it's hard to tell here, but the outsole is translucent. So, little difficult to read, but white with clear outsoles, what's better than that? You can mess around and do anything here you want. I personally like the red chevrons, but on the other side, it's blue. So they're made to be mismatched. Underneath here is blue Velcro with the red Velcro. Very, very clean shoe. Let's see how awkwardly I can hold it. But the Birth of Flight Pro Leather is out now. You can buy a pair from Converse.com. Check these out. Highly recommend it. I've been wearing my Bugs Bunny pair a lot. I have a pair of low top pro leathers. Very, very good shoes. Really good for just everyday wear. You know, if you don't want to stunt and hurt everybody's neck with some heat, just throw on some pro leathers and life is good. Next here, you can kind of see from the box. These are wild. Ambush historically isn't for everybody. It's a very niche brand. But what I will say is when Ambush partners with Converse and Nike, probably other brands, they allow their product and their name to be accessible at a much lower price point. So you can get these Ambush Converse boots for substantially cheaper than you will get anything else from Ambush. So these are known as the CTAS Duck Boot High. It's a polarizing look. They're not for everybody, but I've been wearing them pretty consistently. Weather in Portland has been crazy, so these duck boots have come very much in handy. So a couple big details you'll notice here is the full rubberized toe, and that follows through the mud guard here, comes all the way around the heel with Ambush branding on the back and the size of the shoe here. This rubber toe and mud guard together is not letting water in. I put these through the riggers last week and they held up their end of the bargain. The eyelets here are all fused. The laces are kind of enjoying this Jordan 11-esque lacing system here, but nothing is coming through. This is all mesh here. It's fused to the rubber and fused to this rubber. Nothing got through these. They were great. A really nice detail is the leather collar. So with rubber and mesh, it doesn't really have much character to it. But you put the leather around the collar, gives it a good look, and it feels really nice. These are genuinely comfortable. I know a lot of people want to shy away from boots because they're not comfortable, they're not your style, you wear Jordans. Whatever your reasoning might be, there's a couple great boots options out there. I know Asics makes a really good traction-based, tactical-looking mid-cut boot. You always have Timberland, Red Wings. But these, along with what On's doing with the Cloud Rock, gives you a lot of good boot options. The traction on here is reminiscent of Doc Martens. The feel of these are reminiscent to Doc Martens. And I should have mentioned Doc Marten when talking about boots. But it'll give you a solid 1.5 inches. So if you're a shorter dude, highly recommend these. You have the Converse branding, very incognito, monochrome here on the back heel. Are they new? Yes, they came out, I want to say 3 weeks ago maybe. So they're fairly new. They came in this colorway and all blue. This model came with blue laces that match the blue release. So I bet you the blue ones have black laces more than likely. Great, great boot. I've been accustomed to boot life since moving to the Pacific Northwest, and I'm converted. Like, it really is one of my favorite things to wear in the past week. And on a parting note, I am known to complain about boxes being too big. This Ambush box teeters on being too big, but when you look at the cut of the shoe, it's easily, 8 inches, heel to collar. So you have to have a boot box that big. Boot box that big. Say that over and over again. But great, great, great tactical option, especially if you're the kind of person who looks at boots and you just go to Nike.com and see the field boot for the Army. There's a lot of better options than that. Nothing wrong with that at all, but there's something else out there for you. They're fairly heavy, but that's going to come with the midsole and outsole tooling along with the rubber construction. So a little on the heavier side, but definitely not a Tim. It's much lighter than that. We're going to wrap up this short episode. We're doing a little sweet taste of pickups this week. is coming from Concepts. This release is a little bit older. I want to say it's also 3 to 4 weeks ago. Great release from Converse and Concepts. They celebrate James Naismith's founding of the game of basketball. It beckons back to the fact that the first hoop was a peach basket. So both of these shoes are inspired by peaches. One when they're unripe and one when they're ready to eat. So this first one here is the Chuck 70. And I'll go into a little bit of detail about the Chuck 70. But I wore this shoe for literally a week straight. I wore it for an entire week. I didn't wear any other sneakers. And I love it. And I'll tell you why. We'll start off with the construction though, and the materials. I'm just going to awkwardly rub them while I talk. Like I took a Jeffrey and I'm going to get him to the Greek and I'm just like rubbing the walls. I'm going to be doing that with this Chuck 70. So this is made to look like a ripe peach. And you'll see it has the colorations and variants of hues found on a real life peach. To the feel, it feels like peach fuzz. It legitimately accomplishes what it's setting out to do. Around the tongue, it's getting a little bit more wear, and it's turning silver a little bit down here. Might be hard to tell on the video, but as there's abrasions and rubs onto this material, it's going to kind of bruise like a peach, and I'm really excited for that. The back heel says Concepts. The other back heel says All-Star. This is not your typical Chuck Taylor. This is a Chuck 70. So the original Chuck Taylor came out in 1917. The Chuck 70 released in 2013. So the differences between this and the original Chuck Taylor are in construction. So the foxing here is a higher raised rubber and it's better quality. It legitimately repels water around the toe. It does a great job of protecting your foot. There's nothing wrong with the original Chuck Taylor, but this doesn't have give. If you go buy a pair of blue, red, or black Chucks, you're going to have some give on the toe, and these don't have it. There's increased arch support and overall comfort on the ride of the shoe. Here it says half of Concepts. It says CONC, and the other shoe finishes off Concepts. But you can feel in the cushioning, it's not Lunar Lawn, it's not anything crazy. I would say it's just some kind of EVA foam, but it really is night and day compared to the original or the Chuck Taylor we've all been accustomed to the past 100+ years. There's improved arch support. You can really feel that in the middle. And just overall, materials are much better on this shoe. Excuse me. So I think I have 3 pairs of Chuck 70s now, and I'll never buy a pair of original Chucks ever again. I believe it's a $20 or $30 price difference between the two, but you cannot go wrong. And from a material standpoint and overall construction, I would have to recommend the Chuck 70 over the original Chuck Taylor. The last shoe, as I said, is the brethren to this release, again by Concepts. It's the All-Star BB Evo. And I'm going to start off with the laces, because I've seen some people take the laces off of this shoe and put it on the Grinch Kobe 6, because the laces are reminiscent of the Grinch. And I have a Grinch Kobe 6 here for comparison. But these laces, man, they feel like the Grinch. I don't understand. Maybe, I know peaches don't grow with vines, so I'm not quite following. If someone's an herbologist or something, let me know. I don't get it, but it's really cool. It's something different. I'll go ahead and pull back and show you the whole shoe. This is what an unripe peach looks like. They're greenish yellow, really not what you're expecting. And this All-Star BB Evo is not what you're expecting from a performance basketball shoe. I would say most people don't have this shoe on the radar, and I'm going to tell you why you should. I'm going to start off by saying that this is a build or a improvement upon the first All-Star BB. So they released the mid-top version, I would say made famous by Kelly Oubre Jr., Draymond Green, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Couple people there wear that shoe. This is a takedown model in terms of height. There's no deduction in tech. In fact, it's probably even more technologically advanced than the mid-top. It has a very similar build and makeup to the Kobe 8. I believe it's the NXT 360, the low-top one from 2017. I'm bringing it in closer so you can see concepts through the translucent midsole. These are such a great shoe, and I have it taken apart here. This is why it's like that Kobe. So it has a full drop-in midsole made from Nike React. It's thick, it's bouncy, it feels good. I love how you could take this out, and in theory, you could put this into another model that's less comfortable. You could do a couple things with this. But one thing I will say is that if you're going to do it, you might have an issue with how high up it cups around your heel. So it's great for stability within this shoe. You have tech all around your from your heel down to the top of your big toe. You have cushioning all the way around. I just don't know how that would, in practice, work on a different shoe. But I say it could work. Here you have some blossoms. I'm going to bring it around awkwardly. Beautiful, beautiful drop-in insert. And the shoe, without it inside, it's hard to tell here. From my angle, you can see it. But you can see through the strobel out through the outsole. It's really cool. It really shows how thin and how close to the court this shoe gives you in terms of feel. It's really great. It makes me question, like, from a construction standpoint, how they did it. How did they literally get this so thin that the strobel is translucent through the outsole? I'm very curious about that. So another great thing is the ankle heel lockdown. So it's obviously a low-cut shoe, but you get almost a 3/4 vibe at the tail end of it here. And it's very nicely padded. I haven't hooped in this pair. I've played in a different one, and you can really feel it around your ankle. You're definitely in there. The tongue is kind of awkwardly short. It's not tucked in. This is as high up as it goes. I can't pull it up any higher. And it gives it a very low profile look, but so low profile to where, you can never pop this. I don't know why you'd want to tuck it into a pair of jeans, but that's really not happening anytime soon. You have this synthetic engineered mesh type material with fusing all the way around, keeping it together. It's very breathable. It may not have Flyknit or anything like that, but not every basketball shoe needs to have Flyknit to succeed. Great hoop model. And like I was saying earlier, you have the All-Star BB Evo, and then you have the Kobe 6. Extremely similar. Not in terms of makeup, but just colorway. Look at that. I mean, they could be cousins. It's like when you meet two girls and they say they're cousins and they're really not. I think it's a rap lyric. But the Kobe 6 does have a kind of, borderline similar feel, but also not at all at the same time. I would say I gotta hold one with the midsole in it. I would say the Kobe 6 is lighter. The Pro is lighter than the Evo. I could just be really dumb and not be able to tell. But great shoe. I recommend a basketball shoe like this if you're the type of person who doesn't want to wear Reebok, doesn't want to wear Puma, doesn't want to wear Adidas, you're a diehard Nike head, but you don't want to wear a signature shoe from Nike. Maybe just what they're offering from a design standpoint doesn't fit what you're looking for. What Converse is doing, they have this model. I believe it's called the G4 or 4G. That's a model Draymond Green wears a lot. That's another great option. Converse Hoops is for real. They were out of the game for a long time. Some people might not believe in it, or they might think that's what I wear on the way to the court. They might have a pair of Pro Leathers or something on. Switch your mindset up. The Evo is going to turn heads. It's going to start conversations on the court. You can make friends that way. Who knows? But it's just something different that also has the backing of Nike technology. So you can be a diehard Nike head. You could think, I'll only hoop in Hyperdunks. They don't make Hyperdunks anymore. Maybe you're playing like an Alpha Dunk or something. Or I can go on, and Adapt 360, whatever. And you just want to mix it up. Take a look into Converse Hoops. Check them out. Thank you to Converse and Reebok for these shoes. They were all sent, so I didn't purchase these. But that doesn't change how I feel about them. I wore the Chuck 70s every day for a week, and nobody put a gun to my head. There wasn't a contractual obligation to wear these damn Chucks, and I thoroughly enjoyed them. Go check them out. Next week, we'll have, I believe, the Cool Gray 3. We'll have the UNLV Dunk. We'll have the Freshwater Griffey. And maybe I'll throw something else in there for you guys. So tune in. Make sure you're following Sneaker History. If you're interested, check out what we're doing with the Sneaker History podcast and our Patreon. We have our first giveaway this month. We have a pair of Asics in there. We have a pair of Jordan 1s. We have 2 drop front boxes. There's an Allen Iverson action figure in there. Some great Sneaker History merch. And we're going to be doing this every month. On top of that, we have stuff like History, Trivia Night, lots and lots of good stuff. So maybe look into our Patreon. It would help us out, and I think you'd have a great time. Thank you for tuning in. And last but not least, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the Sneaker History podcast. Or Sneaker History YouTube channel, as I should have said. But you guys take it easy and have a good day. Peace.